Hello and welcome students in today's module. So in our previous video we have find out the magnetic field due to a toroid. Toroid means a solenoid which has bent in form of a loop. This is called toroid. So in our previous video we have find out the magnetic field because of this. Now today in our first topic we are going to discuss magnetic field due to a steady current flowing through a solenoid, a straight solenoid. Okay, what is a solenoid? That you all know. A solenoid is a long insulated wire closely wound in the form of helix such that its length is very large as compared to its diameter. You all have seen spring many times, so spring is a very good example of solenoid. The shape of solenoid is similar to spring only. So here consider a long solenoid having n number of turns per unit length and carrying a current I. So because current is flowing in the solenoid, that's why a magnetic field is produced there. Okay, here in this figure you can see this is one long solenoid. Okay, and the total number of turns is capital N and the number of turn per unit length is small n. Okay, and because current I is flowing here, you can see this is current I flowing here, so that's why a magnetic field is produced here. To find out the magnetic field inside the solenoid, we consider a closed rectangular path MNOP. So here in the diagram you can see MNOP. This is one closed path. Why we have taken the closed path? Because now we are going to apply Ampere's circuital law, and Ampere's circuital law is applicable only in the closed curves. That's why we have taken here the closed path. Okay. Now we will apply Ampere's circuital law here. Before that we will see that M and the length of MN and OP, it is equals to L, and NO and PM, it is equals to B. Okay. According to Ampere's circuital law, B into dl equals to mu naught into current enclosed by MNOP. That is the closed path, closed curve. Now here we have the closed path MNOP. We split it in 4 parts: MN, NO, OP and PM. Okay. So when we have to find out the current enclosed by MNOP, so we will split it in 4 parts and then we integrate and try to find out the amount of current. So here you can see it is B into dl. It is circle integration. That means for the closed path, that closed path has been now splitted in 4 parts. Okay, N to M B into dl, M to P B into dl, P to O B into dl and O to N B into dl equals to mu naught into total current enclosed by the circuit equals to NLI. Okay, now here what happened, because see, when we are talking about NM, so this is NM. Okay, this line is NM and this is the direction of field also. Okay, so the angle between this NM part, that means this conductor NM, and magnetic field, the angle between them is 0 degree because they are parallel to each other. So that's why when we put theta equals to 0, because cos 0 is 1, so we get simply B into dl. But when we talk about PM, this part of closed path, so here you can see this is PM. Okay, so this part PM, this one is in vertical position and the magnetic field is in horizontal one, so the angle between them is 90 degree. Okay, so when we put 90 degree in cos theta, cos 90 is 0, So that's why the current element for this part, PM and NO, okay, they are perpendicular to the magnetic field. So the angle here is 90 degree. So for both of them, when we put cos theta equals to 90 degree, this whole term becomes 0. Okay, for PM, OP and OP is outside the solenoid. Here you can see OP is outside the solenoid, and outside the solenoid means here no current is there. Okay, no current means no magnetic field. So here for OP, B into dl becomes 0, as outside the solenoid B equals to 0. Okay, and ON is again perpendicular, so it becomes 0. So we now seen that out of these four parts, these three will become 0, and only this part will left whose value is BL. When we put that value here, we have BL plus 0 plus 0 plus 0 equals to mu naught NLI, or simply B equals to mu naught Ni. Okay, L and L will get cancelled. So B equals to mu naught Ni. So this is the required equation for the magnetic field due to a straight solenoid. Above relation shows that magnetic field well inside the solenoid is uniform, but field near the ends is about mu naught Ni upon 2. Okay. So here at the ends of the solenoid, this part and at this part, the amount of field will be half in comparison to the other part in the solenoid. Okay. So inside the solenoid, we have magnetic field equals to mu naught Ni. Outside we don't have, because here current is not there, so magnetic field will not be there. In perpendicular direction also we will not have any magnetic field. Now third application of Ampere's law. Magnetic field due to a steady current flowing through a infinitely long straight wire of finite cross section. So it is a straight wire which is infinitely long, but its diameter is finite. Okay, cross sectional area is finite. So here in this figure we have one wire. Okay, the the radius of the wire is A. The current I is flowing here, this one. Okay, and suppose around this current we assume two closed path. This is first path of radius small x, and this is the second path. Okay, and this is the direction of magnetic field here. So point P1 and point P2, 2 points we will take. Point P1 is inside the wire and point P2 is outside the wire. At both the points, we are going to find out the magnetic field. So first, let us find out the magnetic field at a point P2 outside the wire, and for that x is greater than A. Here in this diagram you can see this is the radius of the wire. If a point P is outside the wire, so obviously the radius, suppose we take x, so x will be greater than A. Okay, for the point outside the wire, and for any point inside the wire, x will be smaller than A. Okay, so here we have taken x is greater than A. Okay, so according to Ampere's circuital law, circle integration of B into dl equals to mu naught I, or B dl cos 0 degree equals to mu naught. Why it is 0? Because B and dl, they both are in same direction. So here what happened, at this side B is constant, so we will take it out, and when we integrate dl we get 2 pi x. Okay, the perimeter of circle is 2 pi r, where r is radius. Here radius we have taken x, so b 2 pi x equals to mu naught I, or b equals to mu naught I upon 2 pi x. So this is the amount of magnetic field due to a straight wire outside any point, okay, any point outside the wire. This is the amount of magnetic field. Now let us consider the case when we have to find out the magnetic field at a point P1 inside the wire. For that, x is less than a. Applying Ampere's circuital law to this loop, circle integration of B into dl equals to mu naught I1. Okay, here I1 is the current across the cross section of this loop. Let me first explain you the concept of I and I1. Okay, so this is one wire. In the whole cross section area of the wire, the current flowing is I. Okay, so for the point outside, the whole current will be responsible for the magnetic field. So when we are finding out the magnetic field at P2, we are taking current as I. But when we have to find out the magnetic field at point P1, which is inside the wire, so only the current which is flowing through this much area, okay, this much, okay, outside the circle, this area and this area, that current we will not count. We will only count the current which is flowing inside this much area, and that current will obviously less than I, and we take it as I1. I hope you all are understanding. When the point is outside, the current flowing in the whole wire will affect this. So that's why we will take I. But when we are talking about the point which is inside the wire, only the current which is present in this much area, that much current will be responsible. Okay, the current is flowing here in full wire, but now in second case we are only concerned with the amount of current flowing in this area, and that current we take as I1. So when we have to find out the value of I1 equals to I upon pi a square into pi x square. Okay, pi cancel, so I1 equals to ix square upon a square. So now this is the total amount of current which is flowing through that smaller loop. So in place of I1, now we put its value, so it become mu naught x square I upon a square, and theta equals to 0 degree we put. So we have here in place of BD integration of B dl cos 0, we have B 2 pi x. Okay, B is constant, so we take it out. When we integrate dl, we get 2 pi x. Okay, or B equals to, we have mu naught Ix upon 2 pi a square. 1x and x get cancelled, and we have this formula. Now in both the cases, when P lies outside, B is inversely proportional to x. Okay, so that means if we increase the distance, the amount of magnetic field will decrease. This is the case when point P lies outside the wire. So that time, with increase in distance, the magnetic field will decrease. But in second case, the case of when the point P lies inside the wire, we can see B is directly proportional to x. Okay, so here with distance, the amount of magnetic field will increase. And why this happen? Because if we increase the distance, okay, the amount of current also will increase. Here in diagram you can see, if this loop will be smaller, that means it will have less radius, so amount of current also will decrease. But if the loop increases, the size of loop increases, then the amount of current flowing in the wire also increases, in the through the circle also increases, and that's why the amount of magnetic field increases. Okay, so one thing we can understand from here, that outside, by increasing the distance, the magnetic field will decrease, and inside, by increasing the distance, the magnetic field will increase. So that means the maximum amount of magnetic field we will get here, okay, at the edges of the wire. Here we get the maximum amount of magnetic field. Okay, If we go inside, then also the field will decrease. If we go outside, then also the field will decrease. So that means the field is maximum at the edges. Okay, here on the border of wire we have the maximum magnetic field. We can also show it in form of a graph. So here this one is for second case, when point P is inside, okay, from 0 to a distance x equals to a, the magnetic field will increase. Here it becomes maximum, okay, and after this the wire will end, and outside the wire, this part is showing outside the wire. So outside the wire, as the distance increases, the magnetic field will decrease. Okay, and this is the part of inside the wire. So inside the wire with x, magnetic field will increase. Outside the wire with x, magnetic field will decrease. If suppose the current is flowing through a hollow cylinder, in wire what happen, inside also some material is filled, but suppose the wire is in form of hollow cylinder, so that time what happen, the magnetic field inside the cylinder will be 0, because in hollow cylinder from center no current will flow, and that's why the magnetic field there will be 0. Now move to next topic, current loop and magnetic dipole. Let us now understand the concept of magnetic dipole moment with the help of electric dipole moment. Okay, because when electricity is there, then only the magnetism will appear. So with the help of electric dipole we can easily find out magnetic dipole as well. For that, consider a circular loop of radius r carrying a current I. Okay, then the magnetic field due to the current at a point on its axis at a distance x from its center is given by this equation, B equals to mu naught IR square upon 2 x square plus r square whole power 3 by 2. This formula we have already derived in, I think, second or third video of this chapter. Okay, so you can recall it from there. Then this equation can be written like this also. Okay, mu naught upon 4 pi, we have multiplied and divided 2 here, so this equation can be written in this form also, where pi r square equals to a is the area of loop. So in place of pi r square we put a there. Now for a far off point, x will be greater than r, so we can neglect r here, so we get this equation. Okay, so this is the equation for magnetic field due to a circular loop. Now for that same circular loop we have this electric field as well. Okay, so here in this formula, P is what? It is the electric dipole moment of the dipole. Okay, and the value of P is Q into 2L. So when we compare both these equations, in place of mu naught upon 4 pi, which is a constant, we have 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught. In place of 2 we have 2. In place of x cube we have x cube, and in place of P, here in electric field, in magnetic field we have I into A. Here this is the here P is the electric dipole moment. So that means I into A must be the magnetic dipole moment. Are you understanding this? For a circular loop we have first find out the magnetic field, then we find out the electric field, then we compare them both. So what we have find out, that in place of electric dipole moment, here we have I into A. So that means IA must be the magnetic dipole moment. So this equation can be written in form of magnetic dipole as well. In place of IA we can write M. Okay, In previous equation, in place of Ia, we have written here M, as it is showing the magnetic dipole moment. So like this, by electric field, we have find out the magnetic dipole moment, and the presence of electric and magnetic field you can understand by this circular loop. Okay, so here in this circular loop, at one side you can see the current is going in upward direction, at the other side it is coming in downward direction. So that's why here what happened, two poles are generated, north pole and south pole. So in the circular loop, two poles of electric field as well as two poles of magnetic field also appears. So that's why it behaves like a magnetic dipole as well, and the unit of this magnetic dipole moment is ampere meter square. Okay, so this is it for today's lecture. We'll see you in next lecture. Till then, goodbye, take care, do some productive work, be healthy, be safe.